The ability to focus on what truly matters isn't just a skill, it's survival in today's world. If you don't take control of your focus, something else will. And when that happens, you'll spend your days busy, but not better. You'll work hard, but never move forward. You'll be exhausted, and still feel like you're getting nowhere. This is the trap people are stuck in right now. Constant noise, constant distraction, the endless pull of things that don't bring any real value to your life. If you've been feeling scattered, burned out, or like your energy is going in 100 directions at once, it's not because you're lazy, it's not because you're unmotivated, it's because you're stuck in a system that's designed to keep you distracted. But you have a choice. Right now, you can decide to cut out the noise and focus on what actually matters. Not next week, not someday, right now, because the longer you wait, the more your time, your energy and your potential slip away. You were not born to live life in reaction mode. You were made to lead yourself, to build something meaningful, to create a life you're proud of, but none of that happens until you make one decision: to focus. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, how to clear out the distractions, take back control of your mind, and channel your energy into the things that will change your life. I'm not here to motivate you for a few minutes and send you back into the same cycle. I'm here to give you clear, practical steps you can start using today. No complicated theory, no guesswork, just a simple, effective process that works. By the time you're done watching this, you'll know exactly how to protect your focus. You'll know how to create clarity in your day-to-day life. You'll know how to stay consistent, even when things get tough. And you'll walk away with a mindset built for discipline, purpose, and long-term success. So if you're ready to stop wasting time, if you're ready to take control, if you're serious about building a life that actually means something, stay with me. This is where things start to change. Right here, right now. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. You've been programmed. Take back your mind. Every single day you wake up, you are given something priceless, not money, not opportunities, but something far more valuable. You are given your attention, you are given your focus, and what you choose to do with it will either build the life you were born to live, or it will be stolen away by things that don't matter, leaving you wondering why you feel empty, tired, and stuck. And here's the harsh truth. No one tells you. You are being programmed. Every scroll, every notification, every headline, every opinion, it's all shaping you into something you didn't consciously choose. And unless you take back control right now, today, you will spend your life being used by a system that only wants your energy, your time, and your attention, but never your success. This world we live in is loud, it's fast, it's constantly pulling us in 100 directions at once. You wake up, and before you even take a breath to appreciate the fact that you're alive, you've already reached for your phone. You've already checked a message. You've already been exposed to someone else's agenda. Think about that. Before your feet hit the ground, your mind is being pulled, and it's not your fault. You were trained to do this. You were conditioned to react. You've been programmed by companies, by media, by algorithms designed to keep you in a loop. But now, you have a choice to break free. You have a choice to cut the noise, to wake up, and to reclaim what's yours, your mind. When you were a kid, you didn't think about what was possible. You didn't think about what you couldn't do. You just did. You tried, you played, you explored. But somewhere along the line, the world started telling you who you were. It told you what you could and couldn't do. It told you what to think, what to want, and how to live. And without knowing it, you accepted a version of yourself that wasn't yours. You got caught in a program that you didn't write. Maybe you've been told you're not disciplined. Maybe you've convinced yourself you're too distracted. Maybe you believe you're not focused enough to build the life you dream about. But I'm telling you right now, none of that is true. That's not your voice talking. That's programming. And you have the power to uninstall it, right here, right now. But let's be real. This isn't easy. Taking back your mind isn't about flipping a switch and suddenly becoming this disciplined, focused version of yourself. No, this is about building a mindset that works for you instead of against you. It's about taking full ownership of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. Because if you don't, someone else will. If you don't stand guard over your mind, the noise will get in. And when it does, it will run your life without you even knowing it. Look around you. Everyone is chasing something. Likes, follows, approval, validation. And it's exhausting. People are addicted to attention that doesn't even belong to them. They're scrolling their lives away, comparing themselves to highlight reels that aren't real. And while they're distracted, while they're numbing their minds with useless noise, they're giving away the one thing they can never get back: time. You have to understand this. Your time and your focus are your life. If you give them away to things that don't matter, you are giving away your future. You are giving away your dreams. And no one's coming to save you from that. But here's the powerful part. You don't need anyone to save you. You can save yourself. You can take back your attention. You can take back your mind. And when you do, everything changes. You stop living on autopilot. You stop reacting to life, and you start creating it. You stop being pulled in every direction, and you start moving with purpose. That's when you become unstoppable. That's when you build discipline. That's when you start living the life you were meant to live. And it starts with awareness. You can't change what you don't see. So start paying attention to what's pulling your attention. Pay attention to the things that drain you. Pay attention to the moments when you feel scattered, distracted, and off-center. And instead of blaming yourself, realize what's happening. You're caught in a system that was designed to do this. But once you see it, you have the power to break free from it. Ask yourself, whose voice is in your head? Who told you you're not capable? Who told you you're not focused? Who told you you have to be available 24/7 for every message, every notification, every distraction? Who made you believe that busy equals productive? Because it doesn't. Being busy is just another form of being distracted if you're not moving towards something that actually matters to you. This is where it all shifts. When you stop letting the world decide your focus, when you stop giving your energy to things that don't move you forward, and instead you start choosing what matters. You start choosing your focus. You start choosing your life. Imagine waking up tomorrow, not reaching for your phone, but taking a deep breath and deciding, this is what I'm focusing on today. Imagine creating your life on purpose, instead of reacting to what the world throws at you. Imagine the power in knowing that you're no longer being controlled by someone else's agenda, but instead you are in control. That's freedom. That's where your power is. But this requires discipline, and discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about creating simple, powerful habits that protect your focus. Start small, one decision at a time. Turn off notifications. Set a time every day when you unplug. Create space to think, to be quiet, to be present. That's how you train your mind to focus again. That's how you build mental strength. And the more you do it, the stronger you become. Because focus is a muscle, and like any muscle, it gets stronger with training. You wouldn't expect to walk into a gym and lift 300 pounds on your first day. The same goes for your mind. You have to train it. You have to build it. Every time you choose to focus, every time you say no to a distraction, every time you turn your attention to something meaningful, you are getting stronger. You are rewiring your brain. You are taking back your mind. And here's the truth that nobody tells you. When you take back your mind, you take back your life. You take back your energy, your time, your passion, your creativity. You take back your potential. Because without focus, you can't build anything that lasts. You can't create real success. You can't live a life of purpose. But when you do focus, when you do protect your attention, there's nothing you can't do. You become the person who stays calm in the chaos. You become the person who moves with purpose when everyone else is running in circles. You become the person who gets things done, who builds something meaningful, who lives with intention. And that's rare. In a world where everyone is distracted, your focus becomes your superpower. It sets you apart. It makes you unstoppable. And this isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about showing up for yourself every single day, because you're worth it. Your life is worth it. Your dreams are worth it. But no one can do this for you. You have to do the work. You have to choose. You have to take back your mind. And when you do, you'll realize something powerful. You were never broken. You were never lazy. You were never unfocused. You were simply living in a world designed to distract you. But now you see it. Now you know the truth. And now you have the power to change it. So right now, make the decision. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now, decide that you will no longer live on autopilot. Decide that you will no longer give your attention to things that don't matter. Decide that you will take back your mind, and in doing so take back your life. Because the life you want, the focus you crave, the discipline you admire in others, it's already in you. It's always been in you, and now it's time to live it. This is the beginning. This is where everything changes. You've been programmed. But now you're taking back control, and nothing will ever be the same again. Chapter 2. Escape the addiction to noise and drama. The greatest power you will ever possess is the ability to control where you place your focus. The moment you realize this, everything in your life begins to shift. Imagine a life where you are no longer pulled in every direction, no longer a slave to the constant noise, the distractions, and the endless drama that has quietly taken root in your daily existence. Imagine waking up in the morning with a deep sense of clarity, knowing exactly what matters and what doesn't, with a mind that is free from clutter, anxiety, and unnecessary chaos. That's not just a dream, it's a choice, and it starts right here, right now. In this world that never stops shouting, the real flex is silence. True strength is when you are so grounded in who you are, in what you stand for, that the noise can scream all around you and you remain unmoved, unshaken, fully focused on what matters to you. But we are not born with that kind of focus. We are conditioned by the world to chase every shiny object, to jump at every ping and vibration, to constantly seek stimulation because silence makes us uncomfortable. It's wild when you think about it. We've reached a point where doing nothing, just sitting with ourselves, feels unnatural. But here's what you need to understand. The people who learn to be okay with silence, the people who can tune out the noise and stay focused on their own lane, those are the ones who build extraordinary lives. You are being pulled into distractions for one reason: it keeps you weak. Because the more distracted you are, the less you think for yourself. The more you chase mindless entertainment, gossip, outrage, or drama, the less energy you have to build something real. And you know this. Deep down, you've felt it. That exhaustion at the end of the day, when you're wondering why you feel drained but didn't get anything meaningful done. That feeling that something is missing, but you can't put your finger on it. That's what happens when your focus is stolen from you. And it's time to take it back. If you've ever caught yourself reaching for your phone without thinking, endlessly scrolling for hours that feel like minutes, or reacting emotionally to something that honestly doesn't even matter, you are not alone. This isn't happening because you lack discipline. It's not happening because you're lazy. It's happening because your brain has been hijacked. Technology, media, algorithms, they've all been designed to keep you addicted to noise. The more you consume, the more hooked you become, and the longer you stay hooked, the further you drift from your purpose. But that's not going to be your story anymore. From this moment forward, you are going to become aware of how noise and drama have crept into your life. And you're going to get ruthless about cutting it out. Because your peace is priceless. Your focus is priceless. And the only way to protect it is to get intentional about what you allow into your world. The first thing you need to understand is this. Drama thrives on reaction. It needs your energy. It needs you to engage, to get outraged, to gossip, to feed the cycle. Every time you click on something designed to make you angry, every time you argue over things that don't impact your life in any real way, you're handing over your power. And what's worse, you're draining yourself of the energy you need to build a life you actually care about. So why are you giving it away so cheaply? You've got to start treating your focus like it's the most valuable currency you have. Because it is. And if you keep spending it on meaningless noise, you'll be broke in all the ways that count, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The people who are clear about their mission, their purpose and their values, they are ruthless about what they let in. They don't get caught up in pointless arguments. They don't waste their time consuming garbage. They are too busy creating, too busy building, too busy living life on their terms. Now I know cutting out the noise sounds easier said than done. You're probably thinking, but what about the group chats? What about staying informed? What about keeping up with what's happening in the world? And I get it, but ask yourself this. Is knowing every detail of the latest controversy helping you become the person you want to be? Is it making you stronger, happier, more focused, or is it leaving you drained, frustrated, and distracted? When you cut the noise, you're not tuning out reality. You're tuning into your reality. You're taking responsibility for what you give your attention to, and you're choosing to focus on things that make you better, stronger, and more grounded. And that's not selfish. That's survival. Because you can't pour energy into your goals, your dreams, your growth, if you're constantly leaking energy into things that don't matter. The truth is, we live in a world addicted to drama. People feed off negativity because it's easier than doing the work. It's easier to point fingers, to criticize, to get outraged over things they can't control, than it is to wake up every day and build a life that takes effort. But you're not here for easy. You're here to grow. You're here to lead yourself to a better life. And that starts by refusing to play the drama game. One of the most powerful things you can do is create boundaries. Hard boundaries. You don't have to be available for every conversation. You don't have to know every detail of what's going on in someone else's life. You don't have to have an opinion about everything that happens in the world. You're allowed to focus on your lane. You're allowed to protect your peace. And you don't owe anyone an explanation for it. Think about how much time you've spent in the last week getting sucked into things that didn't move you forward. How many hours did you spend scrolling, reacting, debating, worrying about things outside of your control? Now think about what you could have done with that time if you had been focused. You could have moved closer to your goals. You could have read that book you've been meaning to read. You could have taken a walk and cleared your mind. You could have connected with someone who truly matters. That's the cost of noise. And it's time to stop paying it. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you are training your mind to stay clear. You are building mental strength, and over time that strength compounds. You become sharper, more disciplined, and more in control of your energy. You start to notice how much calmer you are, how much more productive you are, how much less you care about the things that used to throw you off course. And people will notice. They'll wonder how you stay so centered. They'll ask how you stay so focused. And it's because you've done the work to cut the noise. Cutting the noise doesn't mean you isolate yourself. It means you choose what matters. It means you decide where your energy goes. It means you get intentional about the life you're building, and you stop letting the world decide that for you. You've got dreams. You've got potential that hasn't even been tapped yet. But you'll never reach it if you're distracted. You'll never unlock it if your mind is cluttered with noise and drama. Your focus is the key. It's your superpower. And the more you protect it, the more powerful you become. So right now, make a commitment to yourself. Decide that you are done being dragged into things that don't serve you. Decide that you are done wasting time on drama. Decide that you will protect your energy, your focus, your peace. And then act on it. Unfollow accounts that feed negativity. Turn off notifications that pull you out of the moment. Spend less time consuming and more time creating. Spend less time reacting and more time building. Choose silence over noise. Choose clarity over chaos. This isn't about being perfect. You're going to slip up. You're going to catch yourself scrolling when you said you wouldn't. You're going to find yourself in conversations you didn't mean to have. That's okay. What matters is that you become aware of it, and you pull yourself back. Over and over again, you choose focus. Over and over again, you come back to what matters. Because at the end of the day, you're not here to be distracted. You're not here to live for the approval of people who don't even know you. You're not here to waste your life on things that don't move you forward. You're here to grow. You're here to lead. You're here to build a life that matters. And it all starts with cutting out the noise and escaping the addiction to drama. This is your life. This is your time. Protect it, guard it, and use it to create something extraordinary. Chapter 3. If you don't decide what matters, the world will. When you decide what matters to you, your life begins to move in a direction that no longer feels random. You stop waking up every day wondering what's next or why you're exhausted from chasing things that leave you empty. You stop living in reaction, constantly adjusting yourself to fit into a world that doesn't have your best interest in mind. You step into a space of clarity, and once you find that space, everything changes. Your decisions become simpler. Your focus becomes sharper. Your energy no longer leaks into things that don't matter, because now you are choosing. You're not drifting. You're not being pulled. You are leading yourself towards something that has meaning. And that's what this life is about. Living on purpose, deciding what matters to you, and cutting out the rest. But most people aren't living that way. Not because they can't, but because they never stopped long enough to decide what matters. They've been living by default, following a script they didn't write, doing what they think they're supposed to do, chasing what they think they're supposed to want. Success, status, approval. It's all noise if it's not your truth. It's exhausting to live a life that's built on someone else's definition of success. And if you're feeling tired, drained, unfocused, It's probably because you're carrying things that don't belong to you, expectations that were never yours, goals that aren't yours, pressure to be something you're not. And the moment you realize that, you're free. Because you can choose to let it go. You can choose to decide what really matters. It's not about having the right answer. It's about asking the right question. What do you value? Not what you think you should value. Not what you've been told to value. But what truly matters to you. What makes you feel alive? What pulls you forward when everything else is telling you to quit? What are you willing to work for, fight for, and protect with everything you've got? Because if you don't decide, someone else will. The world is full of people and systems that are ready to tell you how to live, what to buy, what to focus on, what to believe. They are more than happy to decide for you. And if you let them, you will spend your life building someone else's dream instead of your own. Look around. The people who are truly living, who are grounded, calm and clear, they didn't get lucky. They decided. They took the time to get quiet, to look within themselves and get honest about what mattered to them. And once they did, they stopped wasting energy on the things that didn't align with that. They stopped saying yes to things that drained them. They stopped chasing approval from people who weren't even thinking about them. And they stopped apologizing for living life on their terms. You can do the same. You can make a decision right now to take back your life, to get crystal clear about what matters to you and build everything else around that. But clarity doesn't show up on its own. It takes work. It takes stillness. It takes honesty, and it takes the courage to say no to things that don't fit, even if they're comfortable, even if they used to matter to you, even if they make other people uncomfortable. Because once you know what matters, you'll realize how much doesn't. And when that happens, you have to be willing to let go, to cut ties with things that no longer serve you. And that can be hard. But it's also the most freeing thing you'll ever do. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more energy. You need clarity. Clarity will give you the focus you've been looking for. Clarity will give you the discipline you think you lack. Clarity will make you unstoppable, because it cuts through the noise. When you know what matters, decision-making becomes simple. You don't hesitate. You don't second-guess yourself. You act. You move forward. And every step you take builds momentum. And momentum is powerful. Once you're moving in the right direction, the energy builds on itself. You start to trust yourself more. You stop looking for validation, because you no longer need it. You are living in alignment with what matters to you. And that creates confidence, real confidence. Not the kind that comes from applause or approval, but the kind that comes from within. The kind that can't be shaken. But it all starts with a decision, your decision, to get clear, to decide what matters. And that decision isn't about what sounds good. It's not about what impresses people. It's about what's real, what's true for you. You don't need a long list. You need one clear focus, one guiding principle, one purpose that pulls you forward, and everything else falls into place around that. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's your health, maybe it's building something that changes lives. Whatever it is, own it, protect it, build your life around it, and let go of everything that pulls you away from it. Because that's how you find peace. That's how you find energy. That's how you find focus. You decide what matters, and you commit to it fully. People are tired because they're carrying things they were never meant to carry. They're chasing things that don't matter to them. They're trying to be everything for everyone, and it's exhausting. But when you get clear, you let go of all that weight. You stop running in circles. You stop burning out, and you start moving forward. one clear step at a time. It's not always easy. Sometimes clarity means making hard choices, walking away from things you thought you wanted, saying no to things you've always said yes to. But it's worth it, because the freedom you gain is priceless. The peace you gain is priceless. And the life you create from that space is more powerful than anything you could ever imagine. You don't need permission to live your life on your terms. You just need the courage to decide. And that decision will change everything. Because once you decide what matters, you won't be swayed by the noise. You won't be pulled by every distraction. You won't be tempted by things that don't fit. You'll be clear. You'll be focused. And you'll be unstoppable. Your life is too important to leave it up to chance. Your focus is too valuable to give it away to things that don't matter. This is your time to decide, to take ownership of your life, to build something that matters to you, and to protect it with everything you've got. Clarity isn't something you find, it's something you create. It's a choice you make every single day, to focus on what matters, to let go of what doesn't, and to live your life fully, completely, on purpose. This is your moment, right now, to decide what matters, to take back your life, and to move forward with clarity, focus, and unstoppable energy. Because once you do, everything changes, and nothing can stop you. Chapter 4. Busy is a lie. Do what moves the needle. Every single person who has ever changed their life, every person who has risen from nothing and built something remarkable, they all figured out one truth. You don't need to be busy, you need to be effective. This is what separates the ones who move forward from the ones who stay stuck. And if you really want to change your life, you need to understand something that's hard to hear but necessary. Being busy is a lie. You can run yourself into the ground, stay up late, wake up early, hustle every hour of the day, and still end up nowhere. Because if you're busy with things that don't move you forward, you're just burning energy for nothing. You're not progressing, you're just moving in circles. The world praises hustle. The world loves to celebrate the grind. But none of that means anything if you're not doing the things that actually matter. The people who win in life, the people who build something meaningful, they aren't busy, they're focused, they're deliberate. They don't waste time trying to do everything. They figure out what moves the needle, and they pour themselves into that. That's the secret. Not running yourself into exhaustion, not checking off to-do lists full of nonsense that makes you feel productive, but doesn't bring you any closer to the life you want. It's knowing what matters and doing it with precision and consistency. You don't have to do more. You have to do what matters. And here's where most people get it wrong. They confuse motion with progress. Just because you're doing something doesn't mean it's taking you anywhere. You can spend your whole day replying to emails, making calls, crossing off little tasks, and at the end of the day you're tired, but you're not closer to your goals. That's the trap, the busy trap. And it's easy to fall into because it feels good. It feels like you're working hard. But hard work in the wrong direction doesn't take you where you want to go. This is why you have to be ruthless about what you give your time and energy to. You have to ask yourself, is this moving me forward? Is this helping me become who I want to be? Is this building the life I'm working for? If the answer is no, you cut it out. You let it go. No hesitation, no guilt, because your life is too important to waste on things that don't count. You can't afford to be busy. You need to be effective. And effectiveness comes from focus. It comes from clarity. You have to know what your priorities are. You have to know what's worth your time and what's not. And when you know that, your life changes. You stop wasting energy on things that drain you. You stop feeling like you're running all day and getting nowhere. You start feeling powerful because you're making real progress. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about being strategic. And I'm not talking about some complicated plan with 100 steps. I'm talking about one question you need to ask yourself every single day. What's the one thing I can do today that will move me closer to my goal? That's it. If you answer that question honestly and you act on it, your life will change faster than you can imagine. Because most people are distracted. They're doing what's urgent instead of what's important. They're reacting instead of leading. And when you live like that, you stay stuck in survival mode. But you're not here to survive. You're here to grow. You're here to create. You're here to lead yourself to the life you were born to live. And that starts with cutting out the busy work and getting laser focused on what matters. This means you have to say no. You have to say no to things that don't align with your vision. No to distractions. No to people who waste your time. No to opportunities that sound good but don't fit your mission. Every time you say no to something that doesn't matter, you're saying yes to what does. You're protecting your time, your focus, your energy. And those are the most valuable things you have. You need to treat your focus like gold. You need to guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Your life is the sum total of where you put your focus every day. If you focus on distractions, your life becomes a distraction. If you focus on growth, your life becomes growth. If you focus on drama, your life becomes drama. You have to choose. Every single day you're making a choice about what your life is going to be by what you focus on. And this isn't just about work, it's about everything. Your health, your relationships, your peace of mind. You can't be everything to everyone. You can't do everything. You're human. You have limited energy. And if you waste it trying to keep up with everyone else, you're going to burn out and you're going to lose yourself in the process. You have to know your priorities. You have to be clear about what you're building. And you have to focus on that with everything you've got. Because when you do, you'll be amazed at how fast things start to change. You'll have more energy because you're not wasting it. You'll feel more confident because you're seeing real progress. You'll be calmer because you're not constantly spinning your wheels. You'll feel powerful because you're leading your life instead of reacting to it. And let me be real with you. This isn't always easy. It's hard to say no. It's hard to let go of things that used to matter. It's hard to focus when the world is screaming for your attention. But it's worth it. It's worth it because your future is worth it. Your peace is worth it. Your life is worth it. When you stop being busy and you start being effective, you'll notice something else. You'll have more time. Not because you found some secret productivity hack, but because you're no longer filling your days with things that don't matter. You're focused. You're clear. You're doing less, but you're achieving more. And that's the goal. That's the point. You don't need a packed schedule to be successful. You need priorities. You need clarity. And you need the discipline to stick to what matters. That's how you win. Not by doing everything, but by doing the right things consistently. So if you're tired, if you're burned out, if you feel like you're always working but never getting ahead, I want you to stop. Take a breath and ask yourself, what am I doing right now that actually matters? What am I doing that's moving me forward? And if you can't answer that, it's time to make a change. It's time to stop being busy. And it's time to start being effective. Your life is too important to waste on things that don't matter. Your energy is too valuable to give away to things that drain you. Get clear. Get focused. And get ruthless about protecting your time. Because once you do, you'll realize you don't have to hustle 24/7 to be successful. You don't have to be exhausted to make progress. You just have to be focused. You have to know what matters. And you have to do that with everything you've got. This is how you win. This is how you grow. This is how you build a life that actually means something. Not by being busy, but by doing what moves the needle. And doing it every single day. So right now, make the decision. Decide to stop being busy. Decide to stop filling your time with things that don't matter. Decide to get clear on what moves you forward. And then go do that with everything you have. Because your life is waiting. Your future is waiting. And it's time to take the steps that actually get you there. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Right now, because this moment is all you have. And what you do with it decides everything. Chapter 5. You are what you focus on. Rewire your identity. Every single thing you want in life starts with where you place your focus. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not about having more time or more resources. It's about where you choose to direct your energy. If you want to change your life, you don't need to do 1,000 different things. You need to do one thing: control your focus. Because what you focus on is what you become. If you focus on your weaknesses, you'll feel weak. If you focus on distractions, you'll stay distracted. But if you focus on discipline, if you focus on growth, if you focus on becoming the person you were meant to be, everything starts to shift. Your thoughts change, your actions change, and eventually your entire life changes. It all begins in your mind. But here's what they don't tell you. You are not born with focus. Focus is something you create. Focus is something you build, and it's built one decision at a time, one moment at a time. You become what you repeatedly give your attention to. Every day, without even realizing it, you're training your mind to be a certain way. Every time you scroll mindlessly on your phone, you're training your brain to seek distractions. Every time you procrastinate, you're teaching yourself that comfort matters more than growth. And every time you choose to do the hard thing, to stay disciplined, to focus on what actually matters, you're shaping yourself into someone powerful, someone unstoppable. The truth is, we live in a world that's constantly fighting for our attention. It's everywhere. Your phone, social media, ads, notifications, people pulling you in 100 different directions. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your entire life reacting to everything and never creating anything. You'll be busy but not effective. You'll be exhausted but not fulfilled. Because focus isn't something that just happens. It's something you have to fight for. Every single day, and the most powerful shift you can make is to understand that you are what you focus on. If you constantly focus on the negative, on the things that are going wrong, on what you don't have, then your life will be filled with scarcity, doubt, and fear. But if you focus on what's in your control, if you focus on what you can build, if you focus on who you can become, then you tap into something that most people never experience. You become disciplined, you become clear, and you stop getting pulled by every little thing that tries to distract you. You have to decide what you're about. Not what you kind of want. Not what sounds nice. What are you about? What do you stand for? What's your mission? And once you know that, everything else becomes easier. Because when you know who you are, you stop negotiating with distractions. You stop wasting time on things that don't fit the person you're becoming. You stop giving your energy to things that don't push you forward. You're focused. And focus is power. Think about the people you admire. The ones who are doing things at the highest level. The ones who are living life on their terms. They all have one thing in common. They are focused. They are disciplined. They're not trying to do everything. They're not trying to be everything to everyone. They are clear on who they are and where they're going, and they protect that focus at all costs. It's not an accident, it's a decision they make every single day, and that's the decision you have to make. Right now, you have to decide who you're going to be, not who you've been in the past, not who other people think you should be, but who you're becoming. And once you make that decision, you have to back it up with action. You have to align your focus with your future, because you can't say you want to be great and spend your days distracted. You can't say you want to be disciplined and spend your time on things that don't matter. You can't say you want to lead and live your life reacting to everything around you. You have to be intentional. You have to get serious about what you're focusing on. And it starts with the simple things. What are you feeding your mind? What are you spending your time on? Who are you listening to? What kind of conversations are you having? These things matter. They are shaping you, whether you realize it or not. And if you want to change your life, you have to change what you're focusing on. It's not complicated, but it is hard, because it requires discipline. It requires you to say no to things that feel good in the moment, but steal your future. It requires you to be different in a world that wants you to be the same. It requires you to tune out the noise and stay locked in on what you're building. And most people won't do it. Not because they can't, but because they won't. But you're not most people. You wouldn't be here if you were. You're here because something inside you knows there's more. You're here because you're ready to take back control. You're here because you're tired of being distracted, tired of being pulled in every direction, tired of wasting time on things that don't matter, and you're ready to focus on what is. This is the moment you take back your power. This is the moment you decide who you're going to be. This is the moment you stop reacting and start creating. And it starts with your focus, where you place it, what you give your energy to, what you feed your mind, what you say yes to, and what you say no to. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your distractions. You are your focus. And every single day, you have the power to choose where that focus goes. You can focus on what's wrong or on what's possible. You can focus on your limits or on your potential. You can focus on distractions or on discipline. And that choice will shape your life. So make the choice. Make it now. Decide who you are. Decide what you're about. And focus on becoming that person every single day. Because your life is waiting. Your future is waiting. And it's time to take the steps that actually get you there. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Right now. This moment is yours. Take it. Focus. And become who you were meant to be. Chapter 6. The Power of One Thing. Simplify, dominate, repeat. Success is never about doing 100 things at once. It's about finding the one thing that matters most and pouring everything you have into it until the results become undeniable. If you look at anyone who has truly built something meaningful, whether it's in business, health, relationships, or life itself, they all have one thing in common. They simplified. They stopped trying to be everywhere, do everything, and impress everyone. They picked their lane. They got laser-focused. They chose their one thing, and they went all in. And that's exactly what you need to do if you're serious about cutting out the noise and focusing on what really matters. You need to simplify, dominate, and repeat. That's where the power is. That's where clarity is born. That's how momentum is built. And that's where mastery lives. Most people are living life scattered. They're trying to juggle 10 different priorities at once, and they wonder why they're exhausted, stressed, and barely moving forward. They think the key is to work harder, push more, stay up later, sacrifice more. But they're wrong. It's not about doing more. It's about doing less. Less of what doesn't matter, less of what drains you, less of what keeps you stuck in the cycle of busy but not productive. The people who win are the ones who figure out how to simplify their life down to what truly matters, and they master that. They don't spread their energy thin across 100 things. They concentrate their energy on what moves the needle. Imagine waking up every day and knowing exactly what you're going to focus on. No distractions, no decision fatigue, no wondering what's next, just pure clarity, backed by consistent action. Imagine the energy you would save if you weren't wasting it, jumping from one thing to the next. Imagine the results you'd create if all of your effort was focused like a laser on your most important goal. That's not just a fantasy, it's real, and it's possible. But you have to make the decision to simplify. You have to be willing to cut out the things that aren't aligned with your one thing. And that's not easy, because we live in a world that tells you to do more, chase more, be more. But the truth is, less is more. Simplicity creates space for excellence. Simplicity is what allows you to dominate. When you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to no one. You can't chase 100 different things and expect to win. You can't be pulled in every direction and expect to stay focused. You have to get clear on what your one thing is. What's the thing that if you focused on it every single day would change your life? What's the thing that lights you up? The thing that challenges you, stretches you, forces you to level up. That's your one thing. And once you find it, you need to pour everything you have into it. Your time, your energy, your attention. You show up for it every day. You do the work. And you stay committed to the process, no matter what. The truth is, success isn't complicated. It's simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. It takes discipline to simplify. It takes courage to let go of the things that are holding you back. It takes clarity to say no to distractions and yes to the work that matters. But if you can make that shift, if you can get honest about what matters and cut out everything that doesn't, you'll become unstoppable. You'll build momentum like you've never seen before. And you'll start to dominate your lane, your craft, your purpose. And once you dominate one thing, you repeat the process. You master the art of simplification, and you apply it to every area of your life. You simplify your health by focusing on one habit at a time. You simplify your relationships by showing up fully, without distractions. You simplify your business by doubling down on what works and letting go of what doesn't. And the more you simplify, the more powerful you become, because focus creates results. Simplicity creates space for mastery, and mastery creates freedom. The problem is, most people are addicted to complexity. They think that if it's complicated, it must be important. But that's a lie. Complexity is often a distraction. It's a way to avoid doing the hard, focused work that actually creates change. If you want to change your life, you need to let go of the idea that doing more equals success. It doesn't. Doing less better equals success. Fewer things, greater impact, simplicity, focus, mastery. And I get it. Simplifying is scary. It forces you to choose. It forces you to commit. It forces you to stop hiding behind busyness and get real about what you want. But that's where your power is, in choosing, in committing, in simplifying. And if you can do that, you'll be ahead of 99% of the world. Because 99% of people are scattered, distracted, unfocused. But not you. You're here because you want something different. You want clarity. You want focus. You want mastery. And that starts with simplifying your life down to the essentials. So what does that look like? Practically, It looks like waking up every day and asking yourself, what's the one thing I can do today that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? What's the one thing that if I do it consistently will change everything? And then you do that. You block out the time. You protect it. You treat it like it's the most important meeting of your life, because it is, and you do the work. Day after day, you show up. You stay focused. You keep it simple. And over time the results will speak for themselves. You'll have more energy, because you're not wasting it on things that don't matter. You'll have more time, because you're not filling your schedule with pointless tasks. You'll have more clarity, because you know exactly what you're working toward. And you'll have more freedom, because you're not being pulled in a million directions. You're in control, you're leading your life, and you're building something meaningful. This is the power of simplifying. It's the power of choosing your one thing and going all in. It's the power of focus, clarity, and mastery. And it's available to you right now. You don't need to do more. You don't need to be more. You just need to focus on less. You need to simplify, dominate, repeat. And if you do that, your life will never be the same. You're not here to be average. You're not here to be distracted. You're here to be great. You're here to focus on what matters. You're here to simplify, to dominate, and to repeat the process until you've built something extraordinary. So make the decision right now. Choose your one thing, commit to it, simplify your life, and go all in. Because that's where the magic is. That's where success lives. And that's where you become unstoppable. Chapter 7. Your brain craves certainty. Give it a system. The secret to taking control of your life is simpler than you've been led to believe. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more time. You need certainty. Your mind craves it. It needs to know what's next. It needs to feel that sense of control, of predictability, of knowing that what you do matters and leads somewhere. Without certainty, you drift. Without certainty, your days get filled with noise, chaos, and endless distractions. And without certainty, you wake up feeling tired even after 8 hours of sleep, because your brain is constantly switching gears, trying to figure out where to go, what to do, and what's important. But here's the powerful part. Certainty isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. And when you do, you build a system around it that makes your life easier, smoother, and more focused. That's where your power is. A life without structure is a life spent in reaction. Every day, something new demands your attention. Emails, messages, calls, problems that aren't even yours. If you don't take control of how your days unfold, someone else will. You'll spend your life reacting to other people's priorities instead of building your own. And the crazy thing is, you'll feel busy. You'll feel like you're working hard. But at the end of the day, you'll wonder why nothing's changing, why you're not getting ahead, why you still feel stuck. It's because you haven't created a system to protect your energy, your focus, and your mission. Without a system, you're exposed to the randomness of life. You're at the mercy of everything around you. And that's exhausting. But when you create certainty for yourself, when you set up a system that guides your actions, everything gets clearer. You don't waste energy deciding what to do next. You don't spend time negotiating with yourself. You already know what the plan is. You already know what matters most. And you show up for it. Day in and day out. That's how you become consistent. That's how you build momentum. That's how you get disciplined, not because you suddenly found more willpower, but because you made the process simple. You made it automatic. You took the thinking out of it. This is why high performers, the people who are winning at life, don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems. They don't wake up every day and wonder if they're in the mood to show up. They have a routine. They have a structure. And that structure keeps them grounded when life gets chaotic. It keeps them moving forward when things get hard. It removes the guesswork, the doubt, and the hesitation that slows most people down. You need that structure too. You need a system that works for you. A system that protects your mornings, that sets the tone for your day, that builds in time for deep work, for rest, for reflection. You need habits that are so ingrained, you do them without thinking, because when you do that, you free up your mind to focus on what matters. You create certainty. And certainty builds confidence. It builds momentum. It builds results. Think about how much energy you waste trying to decide when you're going to work out, what you're going to eat, when you're going to start working, or how you're going to plan your day. Those little decisions add up. They drain you. They create decision fatigue. And by the time you get to the important stuff, you're already tired. That's why systems matter. Systems simplify your life. They remove unnecessary choices. They protect your energy for what really matters. If you start your day with uncertainty, you're already behind. If the first thing you do is reach for your phone and scroll through notifications, you're giving away control. You're reacting before you've even decided what you want your day to look like. That's not the way to build a life you're proud of. You need to take back that first hour. Make it yours. Lock it in. Create a morning system that primes you for focus, for discipline, for clarity. And once you've got that, the rest of the day feels different. You feel different. You move different. But this isn't about creating a rigid schedule where you have to do everything perfectly or at the same time every day. It's about having an anchor, something steady, something reliable, a system that works for you because it fits your life, your goals, your energy. It's about knowing what's non-negotiable and protecting it. Maybe it's your workout. Maybe it's time spent learning. Maybe it's deep work on your mission. Whatever it is, when you make it a system, it gets done. No excuses, no drama, just action. And the more you show up for yourself, the more you trust yourself. That trust builds belief. That belief builds identity. You stop being someone who tries to be disciplined and start becoming someone who just is. You stop being someone who hopes to be consistent and start being someone who shows up no matter what. It's who you are now, because you built the system that made it possible. If you're struggling with focus, with discipline, with consistency, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're trying to wing it. You're relying on feeling motivated, and that's not reliable. You need something stronger. You need a system that makes success inevitable. A system that makes showing up automatic. That's how you create certainty in a world that's always uncertain. That's how you stay grounded when life gets unpredictable. That's how you lead yourself when everything around you feels out of control. Your system is your safety net. It's what catches you on the hard days. It's what keeps you moving when things aren't perfect. And it doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, it shouldn't be. The simpler it is, the more effective it is. Focus on the basics, the fundamentals, the things that matter most. Do them over and over again. Get so good at the basics that they become second nature. That's what mastery looks like. The people who get the big wins in life don't have more time than you. They have systems that make the most of their time. They have routines that protect their energy. They have structures that keep them focused on what matters. And that's what you need. You need to stop guessing and start knowing. You need to stop reacting and start leading. You need to stop waiting for the right time and start building systems that create the right time. The power is in your hands. Right now, you can choose to keep going the way you've been going, relying on willpower and motivation, hoping things get easier. Or you can choose to create a system that makes it easier. A system that removes the guesswork. A system that protects your focus, your energy, and your time. And if you make that choice, everything changes. Your life is the result of your habits. Your habits are the result of your systems. If you want to change your life, you need to change your systems. Start simple. Start with one thing, one routine, one habit. Build it in, lock it in, and then move to the next. Stack the wins, build the momentum, and before you know it, you're living a life that used to feel out of reach. This is your time, your moment, to take control, to create certainty, to build a system that makes you unstoppable. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up for yourself every single day. And it starts now. No more waiting. No more hoping. You've got everything you need. You just have to use it. Build your system. Create your certainty. And watch how fast your life changes. Chapter 8. Dopamine Discipline. Rewire your reward system. The people who win in life are the ones who understand how their brain works, and they take control of it. They aren't at the mercy of their feelings, their moods, or their impulses. They are in charge. Not because they're special, not because they were born more disciplined, but because they cracked the code on one simple truth. Your brain is always looking for a reward. It's wired that way. And when you learn how to control the reward system in your own mind, you stop chasing cheap highs and you start building real success. You stop living on autopilot and you start leading yourself with purpose and power. That's how you win. That's how you get consistent. That's how you build a life you're proud of. You master the game by understanding how dopamine works, and you use it to fuel your growth instead of feeding your distractions. You see, your brain is designed for survival, not success. It doesn't care if you're building your dream life. It doesn't care if you're hitting your goals or staying disciplined. Your brain just wants you to feel good. Right now, it's constantly scanning for the easiest, fastest way to release dopamine, that little hit of pleasure that makes you feel rewarded. And in today's world, those easy hits are everywhere. You pick up your phone and scroll through social media for a few minutes. You get a little dopamine spike. You binge a show, play video games, eat junk food. It's all instant gratification, and your brain loves it. The problem is, those easy dopamine hits come with a cost. They give you the illusion of reward, but they leave you feeling empty, unfulfilled, unmotivated. They rob you of the energy and drive you need to do the things that really matter. What nobody tells you is that this isn't your fault. Your brain is just doing what it's programmed to do. But if you want to rise above that, if you want to lead yourself to a life that actually means something, you have to take control of your reward system. You have to become the one who decides when and how you get that dopamine hit. And the way you do that is by rewiring your brain to crave discipline instead of distraction, to crave progress instead of quick fixes, to crave the deep satisfaction that comes from growth, not the empty buzz that comes from wasting time. The first step is awareness. You've got to see the game that's being played. Every time you feel the urge to check your phone, every time you want to scroll, snack, procrastinate, it's not because you're lazy or undisciplined. It's because your brain is chasing that dopamine hit. And when you understand that, you can start to change the game. You can interrupt the cycle. You can pause and ask yourself, is this really rewarding me? Is this really moving me forward, or am I just feeding the addiction to easy dopamine? The second step is to start creating your own reward system. You take the things you want to do, the things that will make you stronger, more focused, more successful, and you make those things the source of your dopamine. You flip the script. Instead of rewarding yourself for checking your phone, you reward yourself for getting that workout done. Instead of getting a dopamine hit from scrolling, you get it from reading 10 pages of a book that's making you smarter. Instead of feeling good because you binged another show, you feel good because you knocked out an hour of focused work on your mission. That's how you rewire your brain. You link dopamine to growth, to progress, to habits that make you better, and over time your brain starts craving the hard things, because it knows that's where the real reward is. But this doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. You have to be intentional about it. You have to set up your life in a way that makes the right choices easier and the wrong ones harder. You can't rely on willpower alone. That's a losing game. You build an environment that supports your new reward system. You get the distractions out of sight. You keep your phone away when you're working. You keep junk food out of the house. You create space for focus, for discipline, for the habits that will build the life you want, and then you celebrate the wins. You make yourself feel good for showing up, for sticking to the plan, for doing the work. That celebration, that feeling of pride and satisfaction, that's the new dopamine. And it's so much more powerful than the cheap highs you were chasing before. Because here's what happens when you take control of your dopamine. You get addicted to progress. You start loving the process of becoming better. You don't need someone to push you, because you're pulling yourself forward. You don't need external motivation, because you've got internal drive. You become the kind of person who shows up, not because you have to, but because you want to. Because you love it. Because it makes you feel alive. And when you reach that level, everything changes. Your focus gets sharper. Your discipline gets stronger. Your results start stacking up. You're no longer fighting against yourself. You're working with your brain, not against it. You've hacked the system. You're in control. But it takes time. It takes patience. It takes consistency. You're not going to rewire your brain in a day. But every time you make the right choice, every time you reward yourself for discipline, instead of distraction, you're building new pathways, stronger connections, and eventually, those choices become automatic. That's when you know you've won. You start waking up early because it feels good to start the day with purpose. You start training hard because it feels good to push your limits. You start working on your goals every day because it feels good to make progress. The hard things become the reward, and the distractions lose their grip on you. This is how you become unstoppable. This is how you break free from the cycle of procrastination, distraction, and frustration. You take control of your brain. You take control of your dopamine. You decide what's rewarding, and you use that power to build the life you've always wanted. It's not easy, but it's simple, and it works. You just have to commit. You have to make the decision that you're done chasing cheap dopamine, that you're done letting your brain be hijacked by distractions, that you're done living below your potential, and then you take action. Small steps. Every day, you build the new habits. You celebrate the wins. You stay focused on the process. And before you know it, you're a different person. You're disciplined, focused, confident, powerful. You're not waiting for motivation. You're not getting pulled by every little thing. You're in control, and the life you're living reflects that. This is your time, your moment, to take back your brain, to take back your focus, to take back your life. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more chasing distractions that leave you feeling empty. You're done with that. Now you're building something real, something meaningful, and it starts right here, right now. Take control of your dopamine. Take control of your habits. Take control of your life. Because the future is waiting, and it belongs to the disciplined. It belongs to the focused. It belongs to the ones who are in control of their own mind. That's you, if you choose it. And if you do, everything changes. Starting today. Chapter 9. Mental clarity is a skill. Train it daily. Every person who has mastered their life, who lives with clarity, purpose, and unstoppable momentum, has trained their mind to work for them, not against them. Mental clarity is not a gift, and it's not something you stumble upon by accident. It is a skill. It's something you build, sharpen, and protect, like your life depends on it, because it does. In a world that's filled with noise, distractions, opinions, and endless stimulation, the person who trains their mind to stay clear, focused, and grounded has the ultimate advantage. They aren't running in circles. They aren't second-guessing every move. They aren't buried under stress and anxiety. They are calm. They are steady. They are decisive. And that's exactly who you're becoming. Right now there's an endless amount of information coming at you. Notifications buzzing. Emails piling up. Messages waiting for your reply. Everyone wants your attention. Everything is urgent. And if you don't protect your clarity, if you don't train your mind to stay calm in the chaos, you'll get swept up in it. You'll find yourself reactive, impulsive, stressed out, and overwhelmed, wondering why you're exhausted by noon, even though you've barely done anything that matters. That's the cost of an untrained mind. That's what happens when you don't take control of your thoughts, your attention, and your focus. But the good news is, you have the power to change it. You have the ability to train your mind for clarity, to slow things down even when life is speeding up, to stay sharp, focused, and effective even when the world feels chaotic. And it doesn't require years of meditation on a mountaintop. It starts with simple practices that you do daily. It starts with small moments where you choose to lead your mind instead of letting your mind lead you. Mental clarity is about cutting through the noise and focusing on what matters most. It's about creating space in your mind for the important thoughts, the important decisions, and the important actions that will move your life forward. When your mind is cluttered, it's like trying to drive a car with a foggy windshield. You can't see where you're going. You make slow, hesitant moves. You're always worried you're going to crash. But when you clear the fog, everything changes. You see clearly. You move faster. You make better decisions. You trust yourself. And that trust builds confidence. That confidence builds momentum, and momentum builds success. But clarity doesn't come from thinking harder. It doesn't come from cramming more information into your brain. It comes from learning how to think better, how to slow your thoughts down, how to question the noise, how to focus on what matters and let go of what doesn't. And the first step in that process is awareness. You have to become aware of the thoughts you're thinking. You have to notice when your mind is racing, when you're overthinking, when you're reacting to things that don't deserve your energy. Most people are so caught up in their own thoughts, they don't even realize they're running on autopilot. They don't realize they're stuck in loops of doubt, fear, and distraction. But you're not here for that. You're here to break the cycle, to take back control, to train your mind for clarity. And once you have that awareness, you can start to create space. Space between stimulus and response. Space between thought and action. Space between what's happening around you and how you choose to respond. That space is where clarity lives. That space is where power lives. And you create that space by slowing down, by breathing, by getting present, by grounding yourself in this moment, right here, right now. When you slow your mind down, you start to see things differently. You stop reacting, and you start observing. You start to notice which thoughts are helpful and which ones aren't. You start to question the noise. You stop believing everything you think. And that's a game changer, because not every thought deserves your attention. Not every worry deserves your energy. Not every distraction deserves your time. You get to choose. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. And when you take that role seriously, everything changes. Training your mind for clarity means you become ruthless about what you focus on. You stop chasing shiny objects. You stop jumping from one thing to the next. You pick your priorities, and you protect them. You focus on the task in front of you, and you give it your full attention. No multitasking, no half-in, half-out energy. Just full presence, full focus, full engagement. And when you do that, your performance skyrockets. Your results multiply. Because clarity plus focus equals power. It equals efficiency. It equals mastery. But this isn't just about work. Mental clarity impacts every area of your life. Your relationships, your health, your peace of mind. When you're clear, you communicate better. You listen better. You make better decisions about how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what you say yes to. You stop wasting energy on drama, on gossip, on things that don't align with your values. You live on purpose. You lead yourself with integrity. And people feel that. They trust you more. They respect you more. Because you respect yourself. And the more you practice mental clarity, the easier it gets. It becomes a habit, a way of life. You wake up, and you start your day with intention. You check in with yourself. You get clear on your priorities. You move through your day with focus and discipline. And when distractions come up, and they will, you handle them with grace. You acknowledge them, and then you let them go. You stay locked in on what matters. But don't get it twisted. This isn't about being perfect. You're going to have messy days. You're going to get distracted. You're going to feel overwhelmed sometimes. That's life. The goal isn't to eliminate chaos. The goal is to stay clear in the middle of it. To stay grounded when things get shaky. To lead yourself back to clarity, over and over again. That's the practice. That's the discipline. And it's a skill you can build, no matter where you're starting from. One of the simplest ways to build mental clarity is to create daily rituals. Rituals that ground you, that center you, that bring you back to the present moment. Whether it's taking 5 minutes to breathe deeply before you start your work. Whether it's journaling your top priorities for the day. Whether it's taking a walk without your phone and just being present with your thoughts. These small practices make a massive difference. They train your mind to slow down, to focus, to get clear, and over time, those moments of clarity add up. They compound. You start to notice that you're less reactive, that you're more focused, that you're making better decisions, that you're feeling more confident in yourself and your ability to lead your life. And that confidence fuels even more clarity. It's a powerful cycle, and it starts with you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. Start noticing your thoughts. Start creating space. Start practicing presence. And start making clarity a priority. Because when you do, everything changes. Your mind becomes your ally, not your enemy. Your thoughts work for you, not against you, and you start living with a sense of purpose and power that's impossible to fake. This is what it means to train your mind for clarity, to lead yourself, to take control, to live on purpose. And it's a practice, a discipline, a way of life, one that you can start right now. Because the life you want, the peace you want, the power you want, it's already within you. You just have to clear the fog. You just have to lead yourself there. And once you do, nothing can stop you. This is your moment to slow down, to get clear, to focus on what matters, and to lead yourself with purpose and power, because you were made for this. And now is your time to step up and own it. Chapter 10. Make decisions like a Spartan. Cut fast, cut deep. When you make fast, clear decisions, you take back control of your life. And when you take back control, you move forward while everyone else is stuck second-guessing. The people who create massive success in life, the ones who stand tall in a crowd, they aren't wasting time wondering what to do next. They don't sit around weighing every option for hours, days, weeks. They make the decision and they move. And because they move, they learn faster, they grow faster, they succeed faster. And that's what separates them from the ones who stay stuck in the same place year after year. They know that life rewards speed and clarity, not hesitation, not indecision. And if you want to cut out the noise and focus on what really matters, you've got to start making decisions like your life depends on it, because it does. The truth is, indecision is a silent killer. It drains your energy in ways you don't even notice until it's too late. Every time you hesitate, every time you go back and forth in your mind about what to do, you're wasting energy that could have been spent on action, on momentum, on building something that actually changes your life. And the longer you stay in that space of indecision, the heavier it gets. It starts to feel like you're carrying a weight on your shoulders. That weight turns into stress, then anxiety, then burnout. And before you know it, you're completely stuck, paralyzed by all the options you never acted on. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can train yourself to decide quickly, to move with clarity, and to trust yourself even when things are uncertain. Because here's the thing, certainty isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. The most powerful decision makers in the world aren't waiting for perfect information. They aren't waiting until they're 100% sure. They make the best decision they can with what they know right now, and they adjust as they go. That's how you build momentum. That's how you move through life with purpose. You stop getting caught in the loop of what if, and you start living in the world of what's next. And when you do that, something incredible happens. Your confidence grows. You stop second-guessing yourself because you've trained yourself to trust your own judgment. You stop needing endless opinions and outside validation. You become the leader of your own life. The reality is, life isn't waiting for you to figure it out. It's moving whether you're ready or not. Opportunities are passing by every single day, and the people who move fast are the ones who catch them. The people who hesitate, who think they need more time, they miss out. And when you miss out enough times, you start believing that opportunities don't exist for you. But that's a lie. The opportunities are there. You just have to be bold enough to decide and take them. Making fast decisions doesn't mean you're reckless. It means you're decisive. It means you're willing to bet on yourself. You're willing to move without all the answers, because you trust that you'll figure it out along the way. That's the mindset of a winner. They don't need to know the entire path before they take the first step. They just need to know where they're going, and they let the details sort themselves out as they go. And here's something else you need to understand. Not deciding is still a decision. Every time you delay, Every time you avoid making the call, you are deciding. You're deciding to stay where you are. You're deciding to keep living the same day over and over. You're deciding to hand your future over to fear and doubt. And that's a decision you can't afford to keep making. When you cut fast and cut deep, when you make decisions without dragging them out, you free yourself. You free up your time, your energy, and your focus to be used on things that actually move you forward. And even if you make the wrong call, you're still ahead. Because now you've got information. You've got feedback. You can adjust. You can pivot. But at least you're moving, and movement is everything. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. Decisions don't get easier over time. They get heavier. And most of the time, the fear you feel before making a decision is bigger than any challenge you'll face after you make it. The story in your head is scarier than reality, but you won't know that until you move, until you decide. So how do you train yourself to make fast, clear decisions? It starts by knowing your values. When you know what you stand for, when you know what your priorities are, decisions become easier. You have a filter. You can ask yourself, does this align with who I am and where I'm going? If the answer is no, you cut it off. If the answer is yes, you go all in. No hesitation. No second guessing. Just action. You also need to let go of the need for perfection. Perfection is the enemy of progress. It's an illusion. You're never going to have all the information. You're never going to be 100% ready. And that's okay. Nobody is. You make the best decision you can, and then you get to work. You stay flexible. You stay adaptable. But you move. Always. One of the most powerful things you can do is to limit your decision time. Give yourself a deadline. Decide within 5 minutes. Decide within an hour. Decide by the end of the day. Don't let things linger. The longer a decision hangs over your head, the more it drains you. Cut it off. Make the call. Move forward. And the more you do this, the easier it gets. You build the muscle of decisiveness. You build the habit of clarity. And people start to notice. They trust you more because you trust yourself. They follow your lead because you're not hesitating. You're not stuck in your head. You're taking action. And action is what changes everything. Your future is shaped by the decisions you make today. Not the decisions you might make someday. Not the decisions you're thinking about making. The decisions you actually make. The ones you commit to. The ones you follow through on. And if you can make fast, clear decisions, you can move your life in any direction you choose. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be courageous. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to move forward despite it. And when you practice courage through decisive action, you become unstoppable. You start building a life that's aligned with your vision, not held back by your doubts. This is your time to take the lead, to stop hesitating, to stop waiting, to stop giving your power away. Make the call, make the move, trust yourself, and watch how fast things start to change, because the life you want isn't waiting. It's out there, and it's moving fast. You've got to move faster. Decide, commit, act, and never look back. That's how you win. That's how you lead. That's how you create a life that's worth living. One decision at a time, starting now.